I call the member for Sturt.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker, and I'd like to start by thanking the member for Ford for bringing this important motion to the chamber for us to have the chance to debate this morning, because unfortunately for 2 years now we've had this ongoing debate in this chamber. I've spoken on many similar motions about cost of living, hoping that our government will take it seriously and do something tangible and concrete to address the terrible pressures that Australian families, small businesses are under. And whilst the previous speaker from the government has conceded that people are doing it tough out there and that when he goes about his electorate, the number one thing that he hears back from them is that they're doing it tough and that cost of living pressures are very serious, that message is clearly not being heard by the senior leaders in his own government. And we have a situation where the average family, whether it's meeting their mortgage payments or their rent, when they pay the grocery bills, when they open a letter from a utilities company, unfortunately the common feeling for all those people is, how am I going to meet these costs? How am I going to pay this bill? And what sacrifices do we have to make in our family budget to make it stack up? Because the long weekend holiday at the caravan park is off now because it just doesn't fit within the budget, family budget like it used to, because all of these other costs are going up so dramatically. We've seen in the last week a very concerning development where this tension and criticism between our independent Reserve Bank and now the Treasurer and the government, because that independent RBA is starting to be a little more clear with the government about the sort of challenges that they are dealing with alone when it comes to pressures in our economy, inflation in our economy, and the fact that this government is leaving the Reserve Bank to do all the heavy lifting. And that is a nightmare for the average Australian, because what can the Reserve Bank do? Well, regrettably, they've got one lever, and it's the cost of money in our economy. It's increasing their cash rate and therefore interest rates commensurately throughout the economy. And no one in this chamber, I hope, is aware of any family that's saying they can possibly afford to bear any further increases in interest rates. But the RBA meeting just last week, the minutes post that, indicate that they very seriously at that meeting considered whether they should increase the cash rate further, and have sent a very clear message that regrettably this government is not heeding, that if they have to, they might have to increase interest rates even more. And that is the last thing that Australian families can possibly bear right now. They need interest rates to come down, and the RBA can't do that if there's such an imbalance between monetary policy and fiscal policy in our country right now. And what the RBA needs is for the government to listen to them. They're independent, they're not political, and they're not into game playing or messaging through the media. They are clearly, though, trying to send a message to this government that this government's policies are not supporting what the RBA is trying to do, which is fight inflation. We've got inflation running so hot. When you compare other economies, similar economies to ours around the world, we're running at the highest. And there are a lot of pressures, unfortunately, that only indicate that pressure is upwards on inflation. This is a government that went to the last election saying they were going to ease cost of living, and nothing but the opposite has occurred. They said they were going to reduce electricity prices by $275. I challenge anyone to report back from the constituent that's told them that since Labor came to power, their bill has fallen by $275. Even with a blatant, blunt force $300 energy reduction rebate on everyone's bill, no one is anywhere near that $275 reduction. Mortgages up dramatically, rents up dramatically, average household costs, particularly groceries, up dramatically, power bills and other utilities up under this government, the complete opposite of what they said they would do for the Australian people at the last election. So I thank the member for Ford for bringing this motion to the chamber, but more importantly, I hope that this government will listen to it and finally take some concrete action to address the dramatic cost of living crisis that is befalling the average Australian family.
I thank the member for Sturt.